What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Cordell the Drastic Weights. Today is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. Here to talk to you guys about the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets, and potential trade situation for their top three superstars there on the current roster. Just going over the roster, three big ticket names that they have is Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons. And for me, I have a couple teams for Kevin Durant go to, and another situation for Kyrie Irving to go to, and another situation for potential Ben Simmons to go to. For me, it's like playing chess. It's multiple situations I think this team could have where all three superstars don't end up on the team, but I know all three is together. So what will be a situation will be if one of them got traded, depending which one was it, if the two superstars that was still left together would play, and also what if they would trade maybe two of the superstars and leave one player there and build something around that. For me, I think the better situation is I'm not sure if they could play all together, but I do think Ben Simmons have had his issues with Embiid, and now we'll see what happens with Kevin Durant. So far, it doesn't look like I'm not sure if that's not going to work if they don't win, but it looks like Kyrie is kind of like in the middle. I do have an ideal situation for him to go and get traded to, and that team will be the New York Knicks. You could get multiple draft picks from there and a list of them, but also if you was to get a RJ Barrett, I think that's a decent rebuilding blocking pieces for them to continue forward. And also they have a couple other players on our roster from for the Knicks to add over to Brooklyn, playing also inside that same division, so close. But I will hold off on Kyrie being the second person being traded if two players can't play together. Like Simmons and KD, then trade Kyrie. But for me, I think another good place for Ben Simmons to get traded. I will hold off on KD at the last one because you know that you could get the most for him. It's almost like playing spades because he's the one. But Ben Simmons, like I said, he hasn't played a game yet. He had to run in with Joel Embiid. Doesn't like Kevin Durant. You know, might not to think fond of him. Well, we'll see how that plays out this season. But I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, maybe if they got Jared Allen back, their top center that they had before, to protect the rim and got multiple draft picks and maybe another other piece coming from the Cavs, that would be a great situation for the Cavs to have a Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Maybe you can match something to go along with that. So those are the two situations. Like I said, when Jared Allen used to play for Brooklyn, became a superstar. Maybe they get him back at that rim protector. But for the big ticket uh, deal and trade, it was to two teams for KD. I've been thinking about this for a while. The first original one I had coming up was Brooklyn. Well, was Brooklyn trading KD to Golden State, and Draymond Green is there. But originally, I had Jordan Poole because I know both of the contracts is coming up for free agency, and I know Golden State has to make a opinion upon who they would like to probably you know resign or give more money to. Obviously, you have Steph Curry there, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and they're continuing to draft decently well for players to put around that. And Steve Kerr has been, the guys came off of a championship win, so it seems like they do good and take the draft, serious. Even though they're like, well, they're drafting so high. Well, who cares? They're making players, good. Like Looney is looking good, and he was there for a while, so he's looking better than I think he did now than he did early on in his career. So that's a good thing. So, um, Draymond, Wiggins, and multiple draft picks. Obviously, if you trade Draymond and Jordan Poole, you're gonna get a boatload of draft picks and maybe something else to go along. I mean, of course, something else to go along with it. But for me, I'm definitely trading. I would like the Wiggins, Draymond Green, and give me a couple draft picks and maybe one other guy. but you don't really need the other guy. You get multiple boatload of draft picks and that. People trying to say, well, you need something else to go with it. So that's why I agree. I think another player might have to go on the table. But for the last one would have been Minnesota. I know they made the big deal for Rudy Gobert. But over there, when I kind of look at it, and this is another player that used to play for Brooklyn, when you look at D'Angelo Russell, I kind of think if he was to trade KD for Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, once again, hand in hand, this is what I'm kind of looking at, where you got the power forward still with Draymond Green, like you said, coming from Golden State, and then you got the big man coming from Minnesota, and like you add that trade Karl Anthony for KD, throw in D'Angelo Russell, and then now we're talking what other players do you need to go along with it, including the draft picks. And I believe right there, even though these guys haven't played, pressure will come on them. When we are not winning with the two bigs and Anthony Edwards. So for me, of course, look at the best player who's on that team. You're like, oh well, it's Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is developing into a good young player. And we said Rudy Gobert has been that stellar defensive player. So yeah, it's Karl Anthony Towns' team, but you gave up so much for Rudy Gobert being one of these elite players in the league. So for me, I don't want any riffraff. We know who the number one option or team it is, but for me, I mean, yeah, you got number ones to say, but if you add a trade for KD, we know that the second option is Anthony Edwards. We know that Anthony Edwards is going to have to bring that defense, coming with Rudy Gobert, and I just think adding up that lineup, where you could put KD at the power forward or at the three, Rudy Gobert at center, and Anthony Edwards either down at the three and have other guards and shooters around that. Just think about that lineup right there, where it's so simple. Point guard, shooter, Anthony Edwards, KD, Gobert. Bench. Like, so, right there, and then you still, like you said, you trade D'Angelo Russell away, and you trade Anthony Towns, and you put that with Ben Simmons. Maybe you put a team around that, so Kyrie and those other guys can maybe flourish around that. But for me, I wanted to give you guys my trade update for Brooklyn Nets, KD, Big KD, Kyrie to New York, and Ben Simmons. Hopefully he actually plays a game and do something, get on the court and do something, not argue with his teammates and stuff. So there you have it. I'm your boy Cordell Drastic Weights. That's an update on the NBA. There you have it.